June 9th, 2024, Xbox Showcase. Amid several famous titles like Metal Gear, Doom, and Call of Duty, a game called Mixtape catches my eye. I see the art style, the music, and I go, okay, looks like a cool game. Add it to my wishlist and forget about it. 2 years later, May 7th, 2026, I get a notification saying the game has come out. So I go, okay, I'll check it out later. Then I open Twitter a few days later and... So it seems like Mixtape is the new game to pick on, and unsurprisingly a lot of the criticisms I'm seeing are the same ones I've seen hundreds of times before. This is a movie, not a game. Something woke indie slop. It's so boring that any discourse around games on social media just inevitably devolves into this garbage. And as much as I could have easily dismissed this and continued working on something else, this stuck out to me because I couldn't really find anyone who was able to engage with Mixtape in a reasonable way. And there were things I liked and disliked about Mixtape that a lot of people seem to gloss over, so I'd like to have a more civil discussion about all of it. Mixtape is a narrative-driven AA game from Australian developers Beethoven and Dinosaur. It tells a classic coming-of-age story supposedly set in the 1990s in America. I say supposedly because I feel like it's a mixture of the 80s and 90s rather than nailing down anything specific. The game follows a trio of friends, Stacy, Cassandra, and Slater, through their greatest moments in their friendship. Stacy is the heart of the group. She's a judgmental music nerd, determined and ambitious. She wants to be a music supervisor, the person who picks the perfect songs for visual media. Slater is a very laid-back character who's more about composing music. He's been friends with Stacy since childhood, and Cassandra is a new addition to their group who's learning to rebel against her parents. Multi-talented, particularly good at softball, but wants to find her own passion instead of following her parents' plans. There's an underlying tension between them as Stacy is set to leave town the next day to pursue her dreams in New York. So the plan is to find some alcohol and celebrate their last night together with a big party, all alongside a collection of songs handpicked by Stacy. It's all copyrighted music, so I can't really show any of it, but it features artists like The Cure, Lush, and BJ Thomas, and others that I don't really know because I'm too young. Just like an actual mixtape, the game is a compact but carefully curated collection of songs and minigames that punctuate the highs of their lives, showing significant events from the past and present, which I think sounds pretty fucking cool by itself, but I personally don't feel like it was executed well. It's important to acknowledge that I know I'm not really the target audience for this game. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not American. I know, it's shocking. And I didn't grow up in the 90s, I grew up in the 2000s, in London. And no, not the touristy London. My childhood and teen years were also not spent skateboarding or stumbling drunk into DVD stores like you do in this game. I went to parties sometimes, but it definitely was not like this. I think a lot of my teen years was spent trying to do this stupid dumb fuck chocobo balloon thing in Final Fantasy X. But that obviously doesn't mean that I can't enjoy an experience like this. Coming of age teen films aren't something I seek out, but I've watched a few of them, majority of which are set in the US. And one of the TV shows that I've watched about it is set in the UK, but takes a lot of inspiration from American high school culture, and it looks cool, like this dude who is far from what I'd expect to see in a British secondary school / sixth form, but I don't care, it looks cool. And it's called Sex Education and you should watch it. Growing up and reminiscing about simpler times is a universal experience, and I definitely got a taste of that feeling in Mixtape, even if it ended up being quite a shallow experience overall. Let's start with the good parts. It's really good at the rose-tinted glasses aspect, showing how joyous the trio feels in their youth with these fantastical and dreamlike sequences, the softball stadium with the roaring fighter jets coloring the sky, the world's largest gumball machine exploding into a kaleidoscope of colors, riding a trolley to escape the police. The exaggerated elements are a visual treat, and a great way of showing how we romanticize the past. The live action footage is a great addition too. It's used a few times, but I feel like the best times it's used are in the beginning chapters and towards the end when it's relating to music. It pulls us out of the game's world for a moment and serves as a reminder of music's significance in the real world. And even if you don't want to read it that way, these scenes are very pleasing to look at. However, I do feel like that's where my main problems with the game lie. It just looks the part. The game mainly runs off vibes and the main character's fourth wall breaks, and the main character is...
I hate motorcycles. Sure, but like a car or whatever.
No, I don't think you understand my stance on bikes. I want to make this clear. It's not just that motorcycles aren't for me, okay? Bikes suck on a philosophical level. The loud ones, anyway.
Why? Bikes are hot.
No, they're not. They're lame. It's all about...
Stupid ass.
She sounds like the turtle in Finding Nemo. Stacy is so pretentious and arrogant that it made the game feel strenuous to play. Again, I knew I wasn't going to fully connect with this game, especially with Stacy. The privilege to live in this kind of house, have all of this equipment, and be able to fly out to New York to pursue my dreams, that's insane to me. Creative passion and pursuing that passion is a common thing though, and I wanted to give her grace because she's a teenager and a music nerd, so I'm expecting snobbishness from her, but she is just obnoxious.
Once Bella Del Tone hears my mixtape, she'll make me her protege.
But why?
Because my mixtapes bend others to my will. It's a strange, almost cosmic talent. Portishead's debut album, Dummy. Cinematic, ambitious, ahead of its time, just like me. What's he listen to?
Just alt stuff, I think. Pearl Jam, Green Day.
He's a meathead. Use him and lose him.
Early in the game, you're introduced to a character that Stacy hates called Jenny Goodspeed, and her distaste for Jenny starts with them not listening to music in the same way as each other.
I don't really listen to the music. I just watch it.
I know everything I need to know about you.
There's a part where Cassandra's dad lectures her on independence and bars her from going out that night and from going to college, and the first thing that Stacy says is,
You promised you'd go to Camille Cole's party.
there's no, are you okay? It's just, you promised you'd better be there, which feels pretty jarring after playing through parts like this, where Cassandra covers for the group after they TP the principal's house. Or this tender roof talk moment where Stacy is talking about how Cassandra is one of the few people who makes her feel like it's okay to be herself. I don't really get what Cassandra sees in Stacy aside from her passion for music and a way to rebel against her strict parents, but scenes like this definitely don't help with my perception of her.
Why did you bring Jenny fucking Goodspeed?
What, I can't have other friends? You're acting like my dad.
And I wouldn't trust anyone who's this arrogant and pretentious about music, but leaves their records to burn in the sun on their turntable. I don't feel like Stacy's earned the right to any of these scenes showing how tight-knit the group is, or that she deserves her friend's kindness when she consistently comes across as quite a selfish character. It's obvious that her open distaste for people like Jenny isn't out of pure hatred, it's their last night together and she wants it to be perfect before she leaves. But that fear of losing control, of wanting perfect memories, it's something that isn't explored as well as it should be, even for a game this short. From playing through the game and listening to the director talk about it, it's clear that Mixtape is more about presenting and capturing a feeling. The characters and technology aren't all representative of a specific time period.
These characters are a mixtape. They're not even exactly from the same period of time. You got to be there for a good time, not a long time, you know, and I think...
Yeah, it's a momentary...
Yeah.
Experience.
But the phrase capturing a feeling feels too generous. It's more like everything it wants to do is merely an accessory rather than something it fully embraces. For a game that's all about nostalgia, I feel like they could have added a few things to make your interactions with physical media and sound more meaningful. There's the rewinding tape thing, the drunk DVD section, the mini master camera part, the first person camcorder section where you're filming everybody at the party and throwing up little peace signs. But what about just having a consistent physical camera you can use throughout your playthrough? I mean, she has a little SLR camera right there. Imagine having that camera, or one of these little point and shoot cameras, loading the film yourself at the beginning, winding the shutter with each picture, and only seeing the developed pictures in the end credits. But it's a game about music and it's Stacy's mixtape, it's her story. There's a clear emphasis on the importance of music for Stacy's character and how it helps her pinpoint her feelings when words can't. But if that's true, then please, Stacy, just be quiet. Stacy will constantly break the fourth wall to tell you about each song. It's cool learning about the music, but in a sad scene like this where she feels distant from Cassandra, why don't you just let the song play and let me interpret it myself? Better yet, you don't even have to play the full song. You could surprise the player by just making the scene shorter, playing a small part of the song and then suddenly cutting back to color with no music and show the characters silently walking away. There's a gross scene at the beginning that you might have seen online where you're controlling the tongues in Stacy's first kiss. It's one of the few scenes where you're able to abruptly stop the flashback and then Stacy just chucks the tape out the window. Feels like they could have done a similar thing here, and the moments of tension and conflict have no weight. That argument between Cassandra and her dad is so awkward. The pacing here is really strange.
I can't tolerate the way you're behaving.
No.
Well, tell everyone you're doing a charity gap year.
You can't be fucking serious.
I'm not paying for you to F around and party at college, to go on road trips. If you're not grown enough for a privilege like this, then we'll wait till you are!
The cut between Cassandra's shot and the dad here is awkwardly placed. He doesn't tell her off for swearing, even though he's supposed to be a strict parent, and then he leaves and there's basically no time for this moment to sit. Instead, Stacy inconsiderately chimes in, and then she gets mad that her playlist is getting fucked up.
I had every song planned out.
And then later, Cassandra sneaks out, cause obviously she would. I don't know why the dad grounded her and left her unsupervised if he's so worried about delinquency. Stacy and Cassandra have a fight cause Cassandra invited Jenny to their secret spot. It doesn't really matter. Cassandra goes elsewhere to hang out with Jenny. Stacy learns that Cassandra's father is patrolling the area Cassandra's in, so she goes out to distract him and save her. And then when the big party happens and they get caught, Cassandra just strolls up to her dad's car, gives this speech about disobeying him.
If you make me stay here, I'm gonna burn the whole fucking place down!
And yeah, he just lets him go. He drives away? Like, do I even need to say why this is dumb? What I will say though is that while there's a lack of depth throughout, the game's ending did stick with me. At the end of the evening, they walk home together, first to Cassandra's street. She says goodbye and gives Stacy a hug. Stacy and Slater then walk to Stacy's street. Slater gives Stacy his album, and you're given one final prompt to hold hands. I would love to play it with audio, but it's playing a copyrighted song. It's a nice way to conclude a story like this, but it would have been more satisfying if so much of it didn't feel so shallow, because I feel like you really have to turn your brain off for this game to fully enjoy it. At the end of the day, this is a £16 3-hour game, and I feel like if it wasn't for IGN giving it a 10 out of 10, there wouldn't be this much chatter about it, and the people jumping on the hate train don't seem to care about properly engaging with it or trying to understand what the developers wanted to achieve, although with scenes like this, there's no way of making this look better. But people are going, oh shit, look, the game's playing itself. You can't die. Look at this artsy fartsy nonsense. Look at this gross kissing scene. It's woke. Man, I fucking wish. That would have actually made the game interesting. In fact, I think they tried to sprinkle in racism for a second, but then they forgot about it.
You know that effort, the pain to fit in that precinct.
I understand where some of these people are coming from. If we're talking about interactivity, I feel like this little running part could have benefited from a sprint button to give the section some momentum instead of simply pushing the stick forward. And I've already criticized the black and white scene, it plays out for too long. But I don't think any of these people's arguments were made in good faith. I don't like the kissing scene either. I don't even think I can bring myself to show it on screen. But it's one of the only scenes where the music can end abruptly, where you can end it abruptly. And then she just chucks the tape out the window. It was her first kiss and she wanted to get it out of the way. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. And yeah, you can't die, but why aren't you asking why? There's not some deep, philosophical, crazy reason for it or anything, but it's the main character's mixtape. She wants it to be perfect, so it rewinds. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't think anyone gives a fuck, because I just want to argue. I do believe that some of these reviewers deserve criticism, though. With IGN, I feel like the reviews are made for a general audience, and that's okay. I don't expect to instantly agree with every review I read or watch anyway. I rate on a scale of 1 to 5, and have very few games that I consider 5 out of 5s. I usually like to place 5 out of 5s as games that anyone can easily appreciate. And if you're going to give a game a 10 out of 10 and call it a masterpiece or perfect, then you should give some good arguments. So I watched the Mixtape review and I'm like, oh okay, this guy's from the UK, he says he didn't grow up as a teen in the 90s. Okay, this gives us some common ground. Acknowledges his bias with coming of age stories. Says the dialogue is better than Life is Strange. I don't know about that one. And says that even if you didn't grow up in this time, you can relate to it, which is true. But I really wish some of these reviewers would acknowledge how personal this is, because with the way that some of these critics are describing it, you'd think it's this life-changing experience, but it really isn't. It's so easy to feel distant from this game because of the main character's privilege, the dialogue, and moments like this that are just pure fantasy. And then you have the interactive part. I didn't mind how minimal it was, but I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be so pressed about it if the narrative wasn't so weak. If the game actually had a lot more to say than just rebellion and friendship and pressure to change and all of that. Because all of the things that it's trying to do has been done way better in the movies that it's clearly inspired by, like The Breakfast Club. Nostalgia is a strong drug, and it seems like if you fall for it with Mixtape, you will really fall for it, because there's little acknowledgement in these reviews of potential flaws, and I'm not hearing many good counter arguments here. But I don't want to shit on these reviewers either, because it can be hard to fully describe what makes a game perfect for you. I'm not that good at it. And if you like those reviews, or the game, or both, that's fine. I think the best thing that was said in that IGN review is that it's like a comfort film. Something that may or may not be particularly challenging, but it doesn't matter because it makes you feel good. Because Mixtape is what we'd rather remember and not the whole experience. Literally rose-tinted glasses. It's just small bits of rebellion and the good times. Unfortunately, I didn't really vibe with that. The best thing that it did was make me imagine a better game. Maybe one that actually challenges the idea of romanticizing the past, one that's set in a different part of the world. Like off the top of my head, the only game I know set in London in the 2000s is The Getaway. It feels like a time capsule. But with Mixtape, I'm not that bothered. I have my criticisms, I don't think it's a 10 out of 10, but it's a short experience that's not for everyone and doesn't have to be for everyone. I still had fun with it. I don't think this game was ever meant to be picked apart on this scale. If you have Xbox Game Pass, just try it. I forgot to cancel mine and that's why I'm here. Or you could try it on Steam. If the first hour and a half isn't vibing with you, then just refund it and move on. I'm gonna end this by recommending an actual indie game that I don't think many people know. People seem to think Mixtape is an indie game for some reason. It's called Unbeatable. It's not about nostalgia, and it's not perfect either, but it's about music, grief, rebellion, artistic expression. It's got a beautiful art style, and if you don't vibe with the story, it can just be a badass rhythm game to add to your library. Hi, this is editing me. Sorry, my mic just randomly decided to fuck itself towards the end, so I have to redo this with my shitty Razer mic. I want to say thank you for all of the support on my last video. Blew my mind seeing how many people interacted with it. A very special thank you to Sarp Speak Sometimes for my first ever buy me a coffee donation. Genuinely made my day seeing the notification. I'm working on a video about video game romances. It'll come out when it's ready. I might post updates on the Patreon that I just set up. Subscribe, support me through the links in the description, and hopefully I will see you next time.